Ambassador Hyun-woo Park sat at the long metal table and tried not to smile. Around him, 12 different alien species argued in their strange languages. The translation device in his ear turned their words into something he could understand, but the anger in their voices needed no translation. The Federation Council station floated in space above a planet called Kepler 442b. The station was huge and shiny, made to show how powerful the Federation was. Hyun-woo had been coming here for 3 years now, always playing the same role. He was the human who said yes to everything, the one who smiled and bowed and made deals that seemed to hurt Earth. Today was different, though. Today, the small device on his wrist would tell him when everything could finally change. Supreme Chancellor Vextar stood up. He was tall and blue, with 4 arms and eyes that glowed red when he was angry. They were glowing now. The Federation has been very kind to your species, he said, his voice echoing in the large room. We gave you protection. We gave you trade. We gave you a place in our great union. Hyun-woo nodded and kept his face calm. Earth is grateful for the Federation's friendship. Friendship? Another alien laughed. This one looked like a giant insect with silver skin. Humans are useful pets, nothing more. The other aliens made sounds that might have been laughter. Hyun-woo had heard worse things about his species in these meetings. He always smiled and agreed. It was part of the plan. Far away from the station, Captain So-jin Kim watched through her ship's cameras. Her vessel, the Quiet Storm, was hidden in an asteroid belt where the Federation's sensors could not find it. The ship looked like an old cargo hauler from the outside, but that was just another lie. "Captain," said Tae-ho Lee from his position at the weapons station, "the ambassador's signal is still red. Should we move closer?" So-jin shook her head. "We wait. Everything depends on timing." Yoo-jin Choi looked up from her engineering station. "The ship is ready, Captain. All systems are working perfectly." So-jin smiled. The Quiet Storm was not really an old cargo ship. Under its fake metal skin were weapons that could destroy any Federation vessel. The engine could move faster than anything the aliens had ever built. But like everything else humanity had been doing for the past 50 years, it was hidden. Back on the station, Chancellor Vextar was reading from a long list. Earth will give us mining rights to all planets in your home system. Earth will provide 50,000 new soldiers for our armies every year. Earth will give us control of your entire space fleet. Hyun-woo listened to each demand. They were worse than anything the Federation had asked for before. They wanted to take everything and leave Earth with nothing. But that was exactly what Earth had been hoping they would do. "These terms seem very harsh," Hyun-woo said carefully. "Harsh?" Vexitar's eyes glowed brighter. "You should be happy we let your kind live at all. There are many species that would love to have your worlds." An alien that looked like a walking tree made a sound like wind through leaves. "Humans breed too fast anyway. Taking some of them away would be good for everyone." "And your ships," said another alien with too many teeth. "They are old and weak. We can use them better than you can." Hyun-woo touched the device on his wrist. Still red. He needed to keep them talking a little longer. "The people of Earth will need time to think about these requests," he said. "Requests?" Vexitar slammed one of his 4 hands on the table. "These are not requests. These are orders. You will agree now, or we will take what we want by force." The other aliens made threatening sounds. Some showed their weapons. Others talked about how easy it would be to invade Earth. They had done this to other species before. Humans were just the latest in a long line of victims. What they did not know was that Earth had been waiting for this moment for decades. On her ship, So-jin received a message from Earth. It was from Admiral Dong-hyun Cho, her old teacher at the Space Academy. The message was short. "The children are ready to play." That was code. All across human space, other cargo ships and mining vessels were getting the same message. Ships that looked old and harmless were preparing to show their true nature. "Captain," Tae-ho said, "I'm picking up Federation warships moving toward the edge of the system. Looks like they brought friends." So-jin nodded. "How many?" "At least 50 ships. Maybe more hiding behind the gas giant." Yoo-jin checked her screens. "They came ready for a fight. Good thing we are too." Back on the station, Hyunwoo felt his wrist device grow warm. He looked down and saw the light change from red to green. Finally, he stood up slowly and looked at each alien in turn. For the first time in 3 years, he let his real feelings show on his face. "I need to contact Earth about your demands," he said. Vextar waved a hand. "Fine. You have 1 hour to get your answer." "Oh, I already have my answer," Hyunwoo said. His smile was different now. Not the weak smile of a diplomat trying to make peace. This was the smile of someone who had been waiting a very long time for this moment. "Earth says no." The room went silent. No species had ever said no to the Federation. It simply did not happen. "What did you say?" Vextar's voice was dangerous. "And lo, I said no. Earth refuses your demands. All of them." The aliens started shouting at once. Some reached for weapons, others called for guards. Vextar's eyes burned like small red suns. "You cannot refuse the Federation," he said. "We will destroy your pathetic little world." Hyunwoo's smile grew wider. "You can try." He pressed a button on his wrist device. Far away, Captain So-Jin received the signal she had been waiting for. "All stations, this is Captain Kim," she said into her communicator. "The mask comes off now. Repeat, the mask comes off. Show them what humans really are." The quiet storm's hull began to change. The fake rust fell away in sheets. Hidden weapon. Ports opened. The old engines revealed their true power as the ship moved toward the Federation fleet. All across the system, the same thing was happening. Cargo ships became battleships. Mining vessels revealed massive guns. Research stations dropped their disguises and showed their true nature as military bases. For 50 years, humanity had played the role of a weak species that needed protection. They had smiled and bowed and pretended to be grateful for the Federation's help. But all that time, they had been preparing for this day. On the station, alarms began to ring. Federation officers ran to their stations as reports came in from across the system. Their sensors were showing impossible things. The weak human fleet was gone, replaced by ships they had never seen before. Hyunwoo walked toward the door of the council chamber. Guards moved to stop him, but he pressed another button on his device. The guards' weapons stopped working. Their armor locked up. Even their communicators went dead. "How?" Vextar could barely speak. "We learn fast," Hyunwoo said. "Faster than you thought possible. We have been studying your technology for decades. We know how to turn it off." He reached the door and turned back to look at the alien leaders. "One more time. You wanted to see what humans do when you push them too far. Now you will find out. The Federation declared war on Earth." His smile was bright and terrible. "And Earth has been waiting for you to try." The door closed behind him, leaving the aliens alone with their fear and the sound of alarms filling the air. Admiral Kilneth stood on the bridge of his flagship and watched the reports come in. His third fleet was the pride of the Federation military. 300 warships, each one powerful enough to destroy a city. He had used this fleet to crush 17 different rebellions over the past 20 years. Today should have been easy. Intelligence said Earth had maybe 50 old ships. Humans were known for being weak. They always gave up when faced with real power. But the reports coming from his scouts did not make sense. "Sir," said his communications officer, "the advanced ships are not responding." "What do you mean, not responding?" "We sent 12 scout ships ahead to map the human defenses. All 12 have gone silent." Kilneth frowned. His scouts were fast. "Ships with good weapons. It would take a real fleet to destroy them all so quickly. Send more scouts, and tell them to be careful." On Earth, President Minho Jang stood in the Global Defense Command Center deep under the mountains of Korea. Around him, hundreds of people worked at computers and communication stations. Big screens showed space around Earth and all the human colonies. "Mr. President," said General Ji-hoon Kang, "our ships are in position. The Federation fleet is still 6 hours away." Minho nodded. "Open the channel. It is time to tell our people the truth." Across Earth and all human worlds, every screen turned on at the same time. People stopped what they were doing to listen. They had been told that war was coming, but they did not know what that really meant. Minho's face appeared on the screens. He looked tired but determined. My fellow humans, he began, today the Federation demanded that we give up our freedom. They want our worlds, our ships, and our children. They think we are too weak to fight back. He paused and looked directly into the camera. They are wrong. In the Terra Research Institute, Dr. Haewon Song watched the president's speech with her team. Around them were machines and weapons that the Federation had never seen, things that humanity had been building in secret for 50 years. For decades, the president continued, we have let the Federation believe we were weak. We smiled when they insulted us. We agreed when they made unfair deals. We let them think they were better than us. Dr. Song smiled. She had spent her whole life working on the projects that would make this day possible. Fusion reactors that could power entire cities, weapons that could punch through any shield, ships that could move faster than anything in known space. But all that time, we were learning, we were building, we were preparing for the day when we would no longer pretend to be something we are not. The president gestured to someone off camera. Dr. Song stepped forward carrying a small device. This is Dr. Haewon Song, the president said. She leads our science teams. She has something to show you. Dr. Song held up the device. It looked simple, but the power readings on the screens around her told a different story. The Federation thinks their technology is the best in the galaxy, she said. They think we could never match what they have built over thousands of years. She pressed a button on the device. Far above Earth, an old mining satellite suddenly changed. Its outer shell fell away, revealing a massive weapons platform underneath. They were wrong about that too. All across human space, the same thing was happening. Old satellites became weapons. Mining stations revealed hidden guns. Cargo ships dropped their fake outer hulls and showed the warships underneath. Captain Dong-Hyun Cho stood on the bridge of what the Federation thought was a transport vessel called the Peaceful Trade. But that name was just another lie. The ship's real name was Sejong the Great, and it was the most powerful warship humanity had ever built. Captain, said his weapons officer, Federation scouts are entering the outer system. Let them see us, Dong-Hyun said. It is time to stop. Hiding. The Sejong the Great dropped its disguise. The fake cargo containers fell away to reveal massive gun ports. The slow engines showed their true power, as the ship accelerated faster than any Federation vessel could match. Admiral Kilneth watched his screens in confusion as the reports came in. His scouts were seeing impossible things, human ships that moved too fast, weapons platforms where there should only be empty space, and the energy readings made no sense at all. Sir, his sensor operator said, I am reading fusion reactors on those human ships, but the power output is 10 times what our best reactors can produce. That cannot be right. Check your sensors. I have checked them 3 times, sir. The readings are correct. Kilneth felt the first touch of worry. He had fought many battles, but he had never seen technology like this. All ships advance to attack formation, prepare for battle. His fleet moved forward, weapons ready. 300 ships against what looked like 50 human vessels. The numbers were still on his side, but as they got closer, more human ships appeared. Ships that had been hiding in asteroid fields and behind moons, ships that his sensors had not been able to detect. Sir, his communications officer said, we are receiving a transmission from the humans. Put it on screen. Captain Dong-Hyun's face appeared on the main display. He was smiling, but it was not a friendly smile. Admiral Kilneth, he said, my name is Captain Cho of the Earth Defense Force. You came here to invade our home. Surrender now, Kilneth replied, and your deaths will be quick. Dong-Hyun's smile grew wider. You have spent so long beating up weak species that you have forgotten what real war looks like. Today, you learn why every predator on Earth fears humans. The transmission ended. For a moment, space was quiet. Then the human ships opened fire. Kilneth had fought in many battles, but he had never seen weapons like these. Beams of energy that cut through his best shields like they were not there. Missiles that moved faster than his point defense systems could track, and the human ships moved like living things, dodging his weapons with impossible grace. Return fire, he shouted. All ships return fire. His fleet unleashed everything they had. Energy beams and missiles filled space. For a moment, it looked like the human ships would be overwhelmed. But the weapons just bounced off their shields. The human ships kept coming, their guns never stopping. One by one, Kilneth's ships began to die. "This is impossible," he said, watching his fleet fall apart on the screens. "Our technology is thousands of years advanced beyond theirs." His science officer looked up from her station. "Sir, I am analyzing their weapons. The technology is based on ours, but they have improved it, made it better, much better." "How?" "I do not know, sir, but they are using principles we never thought of." On Earth, President Minho watched the battle on the big screens. Around him, his staff cheered as each Federation ship was destroyed. "Sir," said General Kang, "the Admiral is requesting permission to retreat." "Denied. Let them see what happens when they threaten humanity." The battle lasted 3 hours. When it was over, Admiral Kilneth's proud Third Fleet was gone. 300 ships reduced to scrap metal and glowing wreckage. Only Kilneth's flagship was left, its engines dead and its weapons destroyed. Captain Dong-hyun's ship moved close enough to talk. "Admiral," Dong-hyun said over the communication channel, "you came here with 300 ships to destroy 50. Instead, 50 destroyed 300. Do you understand what this means?" Kilneth could barely speak. "How? How did you do this?" "We learned from you. We took your technology and made it better. But more than that, we learned something you forgot long ago." "What?" "How to fight. How to really fight. Your people have been so powerful for so long that you forgot what war is really like. You forgot that sometimes the hunter becomes the hunted." Dong-hyun's image leaned forward on the screen. "Go back to your Federation. Tell them what you saw here today. Tell them that Earth is no longer pretending to be weak. Tell them that if they want a war, we are ready to give them one." "They will send more fleets," Kilneth said. "Bigger fleets." "Good. We have been waiting a long time for a real fight." The human ships watched as Kilneth's damaged flagship limped away toward Federation space. Behind them, Earth glowed blue and beautiful in the starlight, protected by weapons the galaxy had never seen before. The Federation had declared war on humanity. Now they would learn what that really meant. News of the Third Fleet's destruction spread across Federation space like fire. On the capital world of Nexus Prime, emergency meetings were called in the middle of the night. Species that had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years suddenly faced something they had never encountered before. A real threat. Chancellor Vextar stood before the emergency council, his 4 arms shaking with rage. Around the Great Hall, representatives from 12 species argued in fear and confusion. "This is impossible," said Ambassador Kree-Tak, whose people looked like walking crystals. "Humans are a primitive species. They barely have space travel." "Then, explain how they destroyed 300 of our best ships," snapped General Vordan, a creature covered in spikes and armor plates. Vextar called for silence. "What matters now is our response. We will gather the Grand Fleet. 5,000 ships. We will burn their worlds to ash." But even as he spoke, reports were coming in of human attacks across Federation space. Supply convoys destroyed. Military bases going silent. Communication stations simply vanishing from sensor networks. General Ji-hoon Kang stood in the war room beneath Seoul, watching reports from across the galaxy. Red dots marked Federation targets that human forces had already hit. Green dots showed their next objectives. The pattern was clear to anyone who understood warfare. "Sir," said his aide, Lieutenant Bo-young Kim, "the strike on the Aldara shipyards was successful. 12 new Federation battleships destroyed before they could launch." Ji-hoon nodded. "And the fuel depot at Kepler Station?" "Gone, sir. Commander Young-soo Park's team made it look like an accident. The Federation thinks it was a reactor failure. This was how humans fought wars, not by throwing massive fleets at each other, but by cutting the enemy's ability to supply and support their forces. While the Federation prepared for grand battles, human strike teams were making sure those battles could never happen." On the hidden world of New Busan, Commander Young-soo Park reviewed the plans for his next mission. His team of 12 soldiers had spent the last month infiltrating the Federation's most important naval base. Tomorrow, they would strike at the heart of the 7th Fleet. "The base has 8,000 Federation personnel," said Sergeant Min Kyung Lee, the team's demolitions expert. "Their shields can stop anything short of a planet-killer weapon." Young-soo smiled. Good thing we're not planning to fight our way in. Their plan was typically human in its cleverness. Instead of attacking the base, they would turn its own systems against it. Every piece of Federation technology had weaknesses. Humans had spent 50 years learning exactly what those weaknesses were. Dr. Yunji Bei worked in a secret laboratory on Mars, surrounded by computers that hummed with stolen Federation data. For months, she and her team had been studying the galaxy's communication network. What they had found could change everything. The Federation's faster-than-light communication system has a single point of failure, she explained to the Committee of Earth's top scientists. All messages pass through quantum relay stations. If we could take control of those stations, we could listen to every conversation in the galaxy, finished Dr. Parkin-Sue, her second in command. Better than that. We could send false messages, make their fleets attack each other, turn their own communication system into a weapon. But the project would take time, and Earth was running out of it. Reports showed Federation forces gathering in numbers that made the Third Fleet look small. The Grand Fleet would have enough, ships to overwhelm even humanity's hidden defenses. Admiral Kyung-Suk Nam commanded Earth's strategic forces from a base hidden inside an asteroid. Around her, holographic displays showed Federation movements across the galaxy. The enemy was making a mistake that human military academies taught their students never to make. They were fighting the last war instead of the current one. "Ma'am," said Captain Jae-wook Shin, her chief of staff, "Federation scouts have found 3 of our hidden colonies. They're sending fleets to investigate." "Let them come," Kyung-Suk replied. "Those colonies have been ready for visitors for 20 years. The Federation had no idea how many worlds humanity actually controlled. While they thought humans lived on one planet and a few nearby colonies, the truth was far different. Ships had been secretly exploring and settling new worlds for generations. Some of those worlds were now military bases armed with weapons that could destroy entire fleets. On the Federation world of Valtara, merchant Seona Ryu met with local leaders in a cantina that served drinks from 50 different worlds. But this was not a social visit. Seona was a diplomat, one of many humans who had been building secret relationships with species that were tired of Federation rule. "The hegemony of Taldar grows restless," said her contact, a being that looked like a cross between a bird and a reptile. "Your species has shown that the Federation can be beaten. Some of my people want to join your fight." "And the Crystalline Collective?" "They remember when they were free, before the Federation conquered them. They would welcome a chance to be independent again." This was another part of humanity's strategy. The Federation was not as united as it appeared. Many species had been forced to join, and they remembered what freedom felt like. If enough of them rebelled at the same time, the Federation would collapse from within. But first, humanity had to prove that resistance was possible. Commander Young-Soo Park's team moved through the Federation naval base like ghosts. Their suits made them invisible to sensors, and their weapons made no sound when they killed the guards. They had practiced this mission hundreds of times in simulation. The base's main computer core was protected by the best security the Federation could build. Energy shields, quantum locks, and automated defense systems that could stop an army. But the humans did not try to break through those defenses. Instead, they plugged a small device into a maintenance port that the base's designers had never thought to protect. The device contained technology that the Federation had never seen before. Not because it was more advanced than theirs, but because it was simpler. Sometimes the best way to defeat a complex system was to think like the engineers who built it. "Upload complete," whispered Sergeant Lee. "The virus is in their system." The virus would not activate for several hours. When it did, every computer in the base would receive new instructions. The 7th Fleet's ships would find their engines locked down, their weapons disabled, and their life support systems running a very unfriendly program. As Young-Soo's team left the base, they sent a single message back to Earth. "Package delivered. 3." Hours later, the entire 7th Fleet simply stopped working. Dr. Bei's breakthrough came at the worst possible time. Her team had cracked the Federation's communication codes just as reports arrived that the Grand Fleet was moving toward Earth. 5,000 ships, more than enough to overwhelm humanity's defenses through sheer numbers. "Can we stop them?" asked President Minho during an emergency call from Earth. "Not stop them," Yunji replied. "But we can make them very confused." She activated her team's masterpiece, a virus that would spread through the Federation's communication network like a disease. Within minutes, every quantum relay station in the galaxy would be under human control. "What will you tell them?" the president asked. Yunji smiled. "That there are human fleets hiding in places they never imagined. That Earth has allies they don't know about. That this war is bigger than they thought. None of it would be true, but the Federation would not know that. They would see false sensor readings and receive fake reports that would make them divide their forces to chase shadows." On Nexus Prime, Chancellor Vextar received reports that made no sense. Human fleets attacking from 6 different directions. Species the Federation thought were loyal suddenly declaring independence. Communication networks failing across the galaxy. "How many ships do the humans really have?" he demanded. His intelligence chief, a spider-like creature with too many eyes, could only guess. "We thought 50. Then we saw hundreds. Now our reports suggest thousands. That is impossible. We would have detected them building such a fleet. Sir, we thought we knew everything about humans. We were wrong about their technology. We were wrong about their military. Perhaps we were wrong about how many worlds they control." For the first time in his long life, Vextar felt fear. The Federation had ruled the galaxy because they had always been stronger than their enemies. But what if this enemy was stronger than them? What if humanity had been hiding not just better weapons, but an entire shadow empire? In the asteroid base, Admiral Kyung-suk watched the Federation fleet change course for the 3rd time in 6 hours. Their formation was breaking apart as ships moved to investigate false reports of human attacks. "Ma'am," said Captain Shin, "the Grand Fleet is now spread across 12 systems. If they keep dividing their forces like this, they will be weak everywhere instead of strong in one place." Kyung-suk finished. "Exactly what we wanted." The Federation was learning what human military leaders had known for centuries. In war, it was not enough to be strong. You had to be smart. You had to understand your enemy and yourself. Most importantly, you had to know that sometimes the greatest victory came not from destroying your opponent, but from making them destroy themselves. And right now, the Federation was doing humanity's work for them. The Federation Council met in emergency session for the 15th time in 2 weeks. Around the Great Table, representatives of 12 species that had once ruled the galaxy now sat in fear and confusion. Their mighty fleets were scattered. Their communication networks were compromised. And worst of all, they were starting to fight each other. Chancellor Vextar's 4 arms shook as he read the latest reports. "The hegemony of Taldar has declared independence. The Crystalline Collective has closed its borders to all Federation ships. Even the Zephyrian Empire is asking questions about our leadership." "This is all because of the humans," snarled General Vordan. "One primitive species has turned our entire civilization upside down." But Ambassador Kretok, whose crystal body normally glowed with confidence, was dim with worry. "Are we sure they are primitive? Their technology exceeds ours in many ways. Their strategy is flawless. Perhaps we misjudged what humanity really is." On the hidden fortress world of New Sejong, Admiral Kyung-suk Nam studied the holographic display that showed Federation forces across the galaxy. Red dots marked their ships, but many of those dots were now moving in circles, chasing reports of human attacks that did not exist. "Ma'am," said Captain Jae-wook Shin, "the 7th Fleet is still dead in space. The 12th Fleet is searching for our secret base in the Vega system, and the Grand Fleet command ship has been sending the same message over and over for 3 hours. "What message?" "They keep asking their other fleets for status reports, but our virus is changing all the responses. Each fleet thinks the others have been destroyed." Kyung-suk smiled. Dr. Bay's communication virus was working better than anyone had hoped. The Federation's own network was now telling them that humans were everywhere and nowhere at the same time. "Any word from Commander Park's team?" "They have successfully infiltrated Nexus Prime itself. The operation begins in 6 hours." This was the most daring mission humanity had ever attempted. While the Federation's leaders met in their emergency sessions, a team of 12 humans was moving through their capital city. Their goal was not to destroy anything, but to prove a point that would break the Federation's will to fight. Commander Young-soo Park crouched on a rooftop overlooking the Federation's most important building. The Nexus Tower was where all the major decisions were made. It was protected by energy shields that could stop a nuclear weapon and guarded by the best soldiers from a dozen worlds. "Remember," he whispered to his team through their communication devices, "we are not here to fight. We are here to deliver a message." Sergeant Min-Kyung Lee checked her equipment one more time. "The signal booster is ready. Once we reach the Chaka Communication Center, we can broadcast to every screen in the galaxy. And the defense systems? Already taken care of. Dr. Bay's virus reached this building 2 hours ago. Their computers think we are maintenance workers." This was what made human warfare so terrifying to the Federation. They were used to enemies who fought with weapons and ships, but humans fought with ideas and information. They turned the enemy's own tools against them. Dr. Yunji Bay sat in her laboratory on Mars, watching her creation spread through the galaxy's communication network. Every message the Federation sent was now passing through systems that humans controlled. She could read their secret plans, change their orders, and even send false information that would make them attack each other. "Dr. Bay," said her assistant, Dr. Park In-soo, "we are receiving a transmission from the Taldar hegemony. They want to discuss joining an alliance against the Federation." "How many species have contacted us now?" 17, ma'am. Once they realized the Federation could be beaten, many began to remember what freedom felt like. This was another part of humanity's strategy that the Federation had not expected. Humans did not want to rule the galaxy. They wanted to free it. Every species that joined them made the Federation weaker and the rebellion stronger. But the most important battle was not being fought with weapons or computers. It was being fought in the minds of the Federation's leaders, and humanity was winning. On Nexus Prime, the emergency council session was falling apart. Species that had worked together for thousands of years were now blaming each other for the military disasters. The humans could not have developed this technology alone, accused Ambassador Kretak. Someone must have helped them. "Are you suggesting one of us is a traitor?" General Vordan's spikes rattled with anger. "I am suggesting that humans are not as primitive as we believed. Perhaps they never were." Chancellor Vextar tried to restore order, but it was too late. Trust between the Federation species was breaking down. Soon they would be fighting each other instead of fighting humanity. High above the city, Commander Park's team moved through the Nexus Tower like ghosts. Their uniforms made them look like maintenance workers, and Dr. Bay's virus made the security systems ignore them completely. Guards walked past without even looking at them. "Level 50, whispered Sergeant Lee. "Communication Center is just ahead." The center was the heart of the Federation's information network. From here, messages could be sent to every world in their territory. It was also where the Emergency Council's meetings were broadcast to keep their people informed, or in this case, to show them something they would never forget. Park's team quickly set up their equipment. The signal booster would override the Federation's communication system for exactly 60 seconds. That was enough time to deliver their message to every screen, every radio, every communication device in Federation space. "Ready, sir," reported. Lead Park activated the device. Across the galaxy, every Federation citizen would now see the same thing, a human face speaking directly to them. But it was not Commander Park who appeared on the screens. It was President Min-Ho Jang, broadcasting live from Earth. "People of the galaxy," he began. "My name is Min-Ho Jang, President of the United Earth Government. For too long, you have been told that the Federation protects you, that you need their rule to survive, that species like mine are too primitive to govern themselves." In the Emergency Council chamber, Chancellor Vexitar watched in horror as his own screens showed the human leader speaking to his people. "Today, you learn the truth. The Federation is not your protector. It is your oppressor, and it can be defeated." The President gestured, and the screen showed images of destroyed Federation fleets, disabled military bases, and worlds declaring their independence. Humans were told we were weak. We were told we needed the Federation's guidance. We believed those lies for 50 years, but we were never weak. We were just waiting for the right moment to show our strength. More images appeared, human ships, revealing their true power. Human technology that surpassed anything the Federation had built. Human worlds that had been hidden for generations. The Federation wants you to believe they are all-powerful. But look around you. Their fleets are destroyed. Their communication networks are compromised. Their leaders are afraid. If one species can do this to them, imagine what all of us could accomplish together. On dozens of worlds, Federation citizens watched in amazement. Many had never seen a human before, but this one spoke with confidence and strength that their own leaders had never shown. "We do not want to rule you," President Jiang continued. "We want to free you. The galaxy is big enough for all of us to live as equals. But first, we must remove those who would keep us as slaves." The transmission ended, but its effect was immediate. Across Federation space, protests began. Species that had been conquered long ago remembered what independence meant. The Federation's control was built on the belief that resistance was impossible. Humanity had just proven that belief wrong. In the emergency council chamber, chaos erupted. Some species demanded immediate surrender. Others called for even more violent action against the humans. But Chancellor Vextar knew the truth that none of them wanted to admit. The Federation had already lost, not because humanity's fleets were stronger, though they were, not because human technology was better, though it was. They had lost because humanity had done something the Federation thought was impossible. They had given the galaxy hope. "Sir," said his communications officer, "we are receiving reports from across our territory. 17 more species have declared independence in the last hour." Vextar closed his eyes. The rebellion was spreading faster than they could stop. Soon the Federation would exist only on paper. On Earth, President Jiang watched the reports come in from across the galaxy. The Federation was collapsing not from military defeat, but from the simple truth that people wanted to be free. "Sir," said General Kang, "should we prepare for a final assault on their remaining forces?" "No," Minho replied. "We have already won. Now we just need to make sure the peace that follows is better than the war that came before." But even as he spoke, the president knew that one more demonstration of human capability would be needed. The Federation's core worlds still believed they could fight back if they gathered their remaining strength. It was time to show them how wrong they were. The Federation's last hope gathered at Galactic Hub Station, the massive space fortress that orbited their capital world of Nexus Prime. What remained of their once mighty fleets had come together for a final desperate stand. 2,000 ships from across their crumbling empire, commanded by the last Federation loyalists who still believed they could win. Chancellor Vextar stood in the station's command center, watching his forces prepare for battle. Around him, the few species still loyal to the Federation worked frantically to coordinate their defense, but he could see the fear in their eyes. They all knew what was coming. "Sir," said his tactical officer, "long-range sensors detect a single ship approaching our position." "One ship?" Vextar's forearms tensed. "What class?" "Unknown, sir. The design does not match any vessel in our databases. On the bridge of humanity's most advanced warship, Fleet Admiral J. Wook Shin reviewed the mission one final time. The Terra Invicta was the culmination of 50 years of secret human engineering. Every lesson learned from Federation technology had been applied to create something that had never existed before. A ship built not just to fight, but to end wars. "Admiral," said his weapons officer, Commander Hyejin Park, "all systems are ready. The Federation fleet is moving into attack formation. How many ships?" 2,000, sir. "Everything they have left." Jae-wook nodded. The numbers did not matter. Today was not about defeating an enemy fleet. Today was about showing the galaxy what humanity truly represented. On Earth, President Minho Jang addressed his people one final time before the battle. His words were broadcast not just to human worlds, but to every planet in the galaxy that could receive them. "My fellow humans, and to all people who love freedom," he began. "Today we face the last remnant of an empire that thought it could rule forever. They have gathered their remaining forces to make one final attempt to crush the rebellion that has swept across the galaxy." He paused, looking directly into the camera. "They will fail. Not because our weapons are stronger, though they are. Not because our ships are faster, though they are. They will fail because they represent the past, and we represent the future." The Terra Invicta emerged from hyperspace directly in front of the Federation fleet. It was massive, larger than any ship the galaxy had ever seen. But that was not what made the Federation forces hesitate. It was the way the ship moved, with a grace and purpose that spoke of technology beyond their understanding. "All Federation vessels," came a transmission from the human ship. "This is Fleet Admiral Shin of the Earth Defense Force. You are ordered to stand down immediately." Chancellor Vextar opened a channel from the hub station. "Admiral Shin, you are outnumbered 2,000 to 1. Surrender now and we will make your death quick." "Chancellor, you still do not understand what you are facing. This is not about numbers. This is about the difference between a civilization that rules through fear and one that fights for freedom." The Federation fleet opened fire first. 2,000 ships unleashed everything they had at the single human vessel. Energy beams that could melt mountains, missiles that could destroy cities, weapons that had conquered 100 worlds. The attack lit up space like a small sun. For long moments, the Terra Invicta was hidden behind a wall of explosions and energy. When the light faded, the human ship was unchanged. "Impossible," whispered Vextar. "No shield can withstand that much firepower." Admiral Shin's voice came. Over the communication channel, calm and steady. "Your weapons are impressive, Chancellor. But you made them to fight enemies who think like you do. Humanity thinks differently." The Terra Invicta began to move forward, not fast, but with unstoppable purpose. As it advanced, Federation ships tried to block its path. The human vessel simply moved around them, its weapons reaching out to disable their engines and weapons without destroying the ships themselves. "Sir," reported the Federation tactical officer, "our ships are being disabled, not destroyed. They are taking out our weapons and engines but leaving life support intact." This was not how the Federation fought wars. When they conquered a world, they made sure no one could fight back. But the humans were different. They fought to win, not to destroy. "All ships, concentrate fire on that vessel," Vextar ordered. "Everything we have." The Federation fleet formed a sphere around the human ship and attacked from all directions. But it made no difference. The Terra Invicta moved through their formations like they were not there, its advanced technology making their weapons useless. One by one, Federation ships went dark as their systems were disabled. Not destroyed, not killed, just stopped. Within an hour, half the fleet was floating helpless in space. "How are they doing this?" demanded General Vordan from his own ship. Commander Park answered from the human vessel. "We studied your technology for 50 years. We learned every weakness, every flaw, every way to turn your own systems against you. But more than that, we learned something you forgot." "What?" "That the best victory is the one where your enemy survives to learn from their defeat." On Nexus Prime, billions of Federation citizens watched the battle on their screens. They saw their most powerful fleet, their final hope, being taken apart piece by a single human ship. But they also saw something else. Mercy, the humans, could have destroyed every Federation vessel in minutes. Instead, they were carefully disabling them, saving the lives of crews who had come to kill them. "This is impossible," Vexatar said, watching his forces fall. "We have ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. We have the best technology, the largest fleets, the most powerful weapons." "And yet you are losing to one ship," Admiral Shin replied. "Do you know why?" The Terra Invicta came to a stop directly in front of Galactic Hub Station. Its weapons could have destroyed the massive fortress in seconds, but they remained powered down. "Because you forgot what strength really means," Shin continued. "You think strength is having the biggest weapons or the most ships. But real strength is knowing when not to use them." The Admiral's image appeared on screens throughout the Federation. He was older than Vextar had expected, with gray hair and tired eyes, but there was something in his face that the Chancellor had never seen before. Certainty without cruelty. "People of the Federation," Shin said, "your leaders brought this war to humanity's doorstep. They demanded our surrender, our freedom, our future. We could have given them what they deserved for that. Instead, we choose to give them what they need." Around the hub station, disabled Federation ships floated in space. Their crews were alive, their ships could be repaired, but their ability to make war was gone. "Mercy," Shin said simply. "The chance to learn, the opportunity to build something better." On Earth, President Jiang watched the final moments of the battle with his advisors. The Federation's military power was broken, their empire in ruins. But the hard work was just beginning. "Sir," said General Kang, What are your orders for the occupation? There will be no occupation, Minho replied. We did not fight this war to become the next federation. We fought it to make sure there would never be another federation. He turned to address his staff, but his words were meant for the galaxy. Every species will be free to govern themselves. Every world will choose its own path. We will offer trade, friendship, and protection to those who want it. But we will never force our will on others. And if some species choose to be hostile? The president smiled. Then they will learn what happens when free people defend themselves. In the weeks that followed, the galaxy transformed. The Federation formally dissolved, its member species choosing independence over continued rule by force. Some worlds struggled with their new freedom, but others flourished as they had not done in centuries. Ambassador Hyunwoo Park, the man who had started it all with a simple word, no, returned to the rebuilt council station. But this time it was different. Instead of one species ruling over others, it was a place where equals met to discuss common problems. The human proposal for mutual defense is interesting, said the representative from the former Taldar hegemony. But why would you protect worlds that cannot protect themselves? Because that is what strength is for, Hyunwoo replied. Not to take what we want, but to protect what matters. The former Federation worlds were learning new words: cooperation instead of submission, partnership instead of conquest, protection instead of domination. Years later, children across the galaxy would learn about the war that freed them. They would hear about the Federation that thought it could rule forever, and the humans who proved that freedom was stronger than fear. But the most important lesson was not about weapons or technology or strategy. It was about the choice that humanity made when they had won everything. They chose to stop fighting. They chose to build instead of destroy. They chose to show mercy to those who had shown them none. And in making that choice, they proved something. That the galaxy had forgotten. That the greatest victory is not defeating your enemies, but turning them into friends. The Federation had declared war on Earth, expecting to crush a weak species that dared to resist their rule. Instead, they learned what it meant to face a people who fought not for conquest, but for the simple right to be free.